Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC. You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say. Or you're not angry about people confronting the public when you can't call genocide. Over 30,000 people have died.
You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Stop. Okay? Stop. Stop.
We're not doing anything. We're just talking to an elected public official.
It's fucked up, man. And you're not helping these people.
TV. And you're not helping them.
You refuse to.
You're not helping them.
Protests this week have called the president Genocide Joe. So
I do recognize that this is a serious moral failing on my part. I wish that I didn't get such enjoyment from watching this kind of stuff, but I like watching leftists, especially people like AOC, prove just over and over again the most simple of simple facts. You can never, ever, ever be woke enough. When the mob gets hungry, it will always turn on its own because the mob has got to eat. And, you know, we tried to tell these people, man, we tried to tell them, do not entertain these crazy people. Don't embolden these crazy people. Do not rile that crowd. But they did. They thought they could use them. And even funnier than that, they thought that they could control them. But of course they can't, you know. And now, not only is the mob coming, but it looks like the far left really is planning to stay home in November. And it's not just about the fictional nation of Palestine. You know, really it's about everything Joe Biden has done, or probably a better way to put it, everything Joe Biden has not done. You know, say what you will about all these wacky far leftists, but they aren't the average captive Democrat voter. You know, these people, they want to be listened to. They expect results, which obviously that's a pretty funny way to put that. I mean, their ideas are not going to get results, not the kind of results anyone wants to see, but they really expected that Joe Biden would do all the progressive nonsense that he promised, but he didn't. They still have student debt. They still don't have a living minimum wage, whatever that is. And Jews still live in Israel. And you and I recognize that this is the most progressive administration of the modern era. We get that. Maybe even in all of our history. It's at least top 3. But that's not enough for these people. They want a ceasefire in Gaza. And they're crazy enough to think that Joe Biden, world-renowned foreign policy expert, professional adult in the room, and unquestioned intellectual leader of the free world, they think he can demand that Bibi Netanyahu call off Israel's war. Somehow they believe this is possible. I don't think that it is. I think Joe's just along for the ride on this one. You know, even when he's kind of hinted at the possibility that he could have some effect, he's got some say. Israel's basically just suggested that he go enjoy some ice cream and find a nice place to take a nap. But we'll see. We'll see after today. We'll see how many uncommitted votes there are in the Democrat primaries. That's probably going to be the deciding factor on how far Joe can be pushed on this. But so far, it's been more of a diversity exercise.
And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and self-determination.
I'm impressed. I'm sold. I mean, gosh, isn't she just so strong and impressive? I don't know how she's not polling better than Joe. But, I mean, what do you think she means when she says we got to build something enduring? I mean, I would appreciate some examples, some ideas. I think we'd appreciate that. We'd all appreciate that. Because the place has been at war for thousands of years, right? Let's be honest. And we've been involved for damn near 80 years. And we built something that seemed pretty enduring 20 years ago. Palestine had an election, and they voted for Hamas. And that was the end of their democratic experiment. It was over just as quickly as it began. And I'm not saying that it's not possible, right? I'm not saying it can't be fixed, but I am saying empty words from Kamala Harris are not going to move the needle. And even if it does, the leftist mob, the people that have been in the streets since October, they're not going to be pacified by anything with the word temporary in it. They're not going to be fooled by some 6-week ceasefire. You know, remember, the whole entire point of protesting, like AOC says, is to make people uncomfortable. Now, Of course, like any decent politician, left, right, wherever, when AOC said that, she did not mean herself. And never in a million years would she have imagined that anyone would turn that back on her. But like she says, and here's what she does say, activists take that discomfort with the status quo and advocate for concrete policy changes. Popular support often starts small and grows. To folks who complain, protest demands make others uncomfortable, that's the point. I mean, that's her own words, man. I wonder how she feels about that tweet these days, you know. And we'll all give our thoughts once I show you this video in a second. But guys, first, help us get our message heard, you know. This is going to be an incredibly difficult year to get conservative voices heard. And there's never been a more important year. I believe that. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. That really, really does mean a lot. Take a look at this.
You refuse to call it a genocide in front of everybody.
I need you to understand that this is not okay.
It's not okay that there's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it.
You're lying.
I'm lying.
You're not.
You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
For what? Because now you can't say it's a genocide or what? You're just acting for political ways. You can't call it a genocide. Then how do you say we're not lying.
We're not lying.
You've been
We're not
saying it in
TV.
interviews. It's insane. You haven't been calling it a genocide. Don't tell me I'm lying. Then just say it's a genocide. Just say it. Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC. You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say. Or you're not angry about people confronting you publicly. You can't call it genocide. Over 30,000 people have died.
Stop. Okay? Stop. Stop.
We're not doing anything. We're just talking to an elected public official. That's all we're doing. That's it.
You're going to cut it, and you're going to cut this, and you're going to clip this so that it's completely out of context. I already said that it was, and y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't over and over again. It's fucked up, man. And
You
you're not
did it on
helping
live
these people,
TV.
and you're not helping them.
You refuse to.
You're not helping them.
I mean, honestly, when you look at it, they're doing as much, if not probably more, than she is to help those people, as she put it. You know, she doesn't seem like she's losing any sleep over it. And honestly, she wasn't even really smart enough to pretend like she was losing some sleep over it. I think I found what really is kind of driven her crazies against her. If she could only just bring herself to say the words Genocide Joe.
Some of your colleagues, and we talked about what's happened at the protests this week, have called the president Genocide Joe. Some of your colleagues have accused the president of supporting genocide, including Rashida Tlaib. Do you agree with that word, genocide, that the president's been supporting a genocide, or does that go too far?
I think what we are seeing right now throughout the country is that young people are appalled at the violence and the indiscriminate loss of life. We are not just seeing 25,000 people that have died in Gaza. We are seeing the starvation of millions of people, the displacement of over 2 million Gazans. We have South Africa that has mounted a court in the ICJ. The ICJ ruled this week that Israel has a grave responsibility to prevent genocide.
But they're still determining
that
whether it's a genocide. Do you think that
they are
term
still
is responsible,
determining
given
it?
that it's still under investigation?
I believe that they're still determining it, but in the interim ruling, the fact that they said there's a responsibility to prevent it, the fact that this word is even in play, the fact that this word is even in our discourse, I think demonstrates the mass inhumanity that Gazans are facing. And so whether you are an individual that believes this is a genocide, which, by the way, in our polling, we are seeing large amounts of Americans concerned specifically with that word. So I don't think that it is something to completely toss someone out of our public discourse for using. But I think what we are seeing here is that the Netanyahu government has lost public support, and that we have a responsibility to protect the human rights and the humanity of Gazans and hostages alike in the area.
I mean, when you listen to her, it does sound an awful lot like she's describing what her crazies, the people without any real context or understanding, would call a genocide. But when you're AOC, you're a representative of the United States government, you got to be careful with those kind of words, man. You got to be careful with your vitriol. You can't go saying things like that half-cocked. You got to let some outfit in North Africa that no one's ever heard of Got to let them make that determination first, right? I mean, just look at this lady, man. She has turned herself really, really quickly from socialist, activist folk hero into soulless politician. Just listen to what she says. She says, you know, by the way, we see in our polling that there's an ever-rising number of people who are concerned by the word genocide. So she's going to start losing some sleep as soon as the polling hits this critical mass or whatever. And then she talks about Netanyahu losing public support here in the US. And I'm sorry, man, but I don't think Israel gives two shits about their polling or support in the United States. I mean, them caring what the rest of the world thinks is really honestly exactly what put them in the position they're in right now. I mean, no wonder AOC's people are so pissed at her. I mean, obviously, this is a complicated and very, very nasty thing going on in the world. Frankly, I don't think the US is in any kind of position to be capable enough to do anything about it. I almost didn't make this video because I've been purposefully staying away from this topic on the channel. But I couldn't pass up watching the mob turn on one of their heroes. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to be the end result. What is going to happen with Joe in November and these crazies in the streets? And don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.